So here are some tips for criminal law and procedure essays. That is the first topic that we start with in the California Bar Style course. We started with that this week with our February 2025 applicants, and here are some tips on criminal law and procedure essays. Well, first of all, when you're dealing with criminal law, it likely will cross over with criminal procedure. Sometimes we do see a pure criminal law essay. Usually it is with a lot of different crimes and then homicide thrown in there, like we saw quite recently. And then sometimes you'll have a pure criminal procedure essay. Usually that is in line with the Fourth Amendment. But typically nowadays, there are crossovers. So usually it's criminal law with criminal procedure, or criminal procedure with evidence like we saw, or professional responsibility that can kind of be thrown into the mix with all of them. So what you really want to be on the lookout for with criminal procedure are questions or calls of question that have the language for a motion to suppress. So suppression of the evidence. And that is different and distinguished from evidence where you're looking for calls of question that use language like admissibility of the item of evidence. And those two are often confused. So the admissibility of an item of evidence, the subject being tested is evidence. Suppression of the item of evidence, the topic being tested is criminal procedure. So take note of that and don't mess the two up. Now, the hot topics, as you know, likely on criminal law are homicide. There are several types. First-degree murder, that's that premeditation, specific intent, and deliberation. Now, don't forget, you can have felony murder in the first degree. You can also have felony murder in the second degree. That is when the defendant's initial intent is to carry out an inherently dangerous felony as opposed to just an intent to kill. So when you have felony murder in the first or second, it's the same limitations in both, the same elements. The main difference is that it's a jurisdictional issue, so you do have to address both. And the way that you do that is you first hit felony murder in the first, and you go through all of the limitations and elements of felony murder, and then you make a heading in a general homicide question. By the way, this is not like a specific call where they're specifically asking for just felony murder in the first, but in a general felony murder question, you're going into, again, all the limitations and elements in a felony murder in the first heading, and then you're making felony murder in the second, and you're just giving a summation of the conclusion above and saying if the jurisdiction holds that felony murder is in the second, and let's assume that the defendant can be held guilty based on your analysis above, then the jurisdiction will likely find, or let's not even say likely, let's be more assertive, will find that the defendant is guilty of felony murder in the second. So homicide is a hot topic. Don't forget you have common law murder. That's your malice murder with 4 types of malice. There are voluntary manslaughter charges as well as involuntary manslaughter, that has 2 prongs. Now, other crimes like the inchoate crimes are highly tested on criminal law essays, as well as the miscellaneous crimes like larceny and arson and robbery and burglary. So make sure you know the elements for those very well, because they come up not only on a crimes essay, but also on the multiple choice a lot. And of course, all the criminal law defenses. Now, as I said, for Fourth Amendment in criminal procedure, that is tested heavily. It can be a pure essay. It comes up at least every 2 to 3 bars. We are due for a full Fourth Amendment essay. I do think we'll have one in 2025. Whether that comes up in February or July, we'll wait to see. But for now, just do a ton of issue spotting. If you have my approaches, that'll make it a lot easier. But regardless, look for the patterns and the issues that you always have to discuss, and make sure you know your scope of issue spotting and how the crossovers work. And if you do enough practice, you'll see a lot of repetition in the way these areas of law are tested. For CrimPro, make sure you know confessions and pretrial identification. That was tested recently. And make sure you know how to decipher the specific and general calls of question, because a general call, you're gonna have to kind of throw everything in the kitchen sink at it, but a specific call, you're only talking about that criminal procedure methodology or the crime in question. And of course, don't ever forget to consider the criminal law defenses, even if the call is not asking for it. I hope that helps. Have a beautiful day and good luck on your criminal law and procedure essays.